Muy buenas tardes. Vamos a comenzar entonces con la lectura del artículo. Digital Economy and SMA Financing Cost Evidence from China. Highlights. The digital economy can significantly reduce SMA financing cost. The digital economy reduces SMA financing costs by enhancing corporate information transparency. The cost-reducing effect of the digital economy is more pronounced for SMEs in technology-intensive industries. Abstract. With the rapid development of the digital economy, whether the digital economy can reshape SMA financing costs and become a key question for academic research. This study selects the Comprehensive Development Index of the digital economy from 30 provinces in China and data on Asia-listed enterprises for the period 2012-2023 to construct a panel data model. This model is employed to investigate the impact of the digital economy on SMA financing costs and underlying mechanisms. The findings reveal that the digital economy can significantly reduce SMA financing costs. Mechanism tests indicate that the digital economy reduces SMA financing costs by enhancing corporate information transparency. Furthermore, the cost-reducing effect of the digital economy is more pronounced for SMEs in technology-intensive industries. Introduction. With the explosive growth of the digital economy, China's overall digital economy scales has surpassed 50 trillion yuan, accounting for a significant 41.5% of GDP. China Digital Economy White Paper 2023. This demonstrates its substantial role in changing resource allocation and financial efficiency. However, against this grand backdrop, financing costs for small and medium-sized enterprises remain persistently high, constituting a sharp paradox. The long-standing issues of information asymmetry and credit rationing within the traditional financial system have not naturally dissipated with the scale expansion of the digital economy. Instead, they prompt use to examine more deeply the actual mechanisms and limitations of technology-enabled solutions. Can the digital economy fundamentally restructure financing cost structures? How can its operational mechanisms bridge the gap between ideal and reality? These have become critical academic and practical questions demanding urgent resolutions. Existing research has preliminarily explored the relationship between the digital economy and financing behaviors. International scholars emphasize the role of digital technologies in reducing transaction costs, while domestic studies focus on the breadth of digital financial inclusion or single financing channels. Nevertheless, the current literature exhibits three main limitations. First, it predominantly adopts a macro-level financial supply perspective, overlooking the formation mechanisms of corporate micro-level financing costs. Second, there is a lack of empirical testing on the core mediating pathway of corporate information transparency, making it difficult to explain how the digital economy pieces the financing black box. Third, it fails to adequately identify the differential effects based on industry technological attributes, casting doubt on the generalizability of policy recommendations. These theoretical gaps leave the transmission logic of how the digital economy reshapes SMA financing costs yet to the systematically deconstructed. In summary, existing research has primarily focused on micro-level financial supply, failing to elucidate the micro-level formation mechanisms of corporate financing costs, particularly the black box issue of how digital technologies influence banks' internal credit pricing models. This paper breaks through existing frameworks by constructing a black box system framework to corporate financing costs. Using China's 30 Province Digital Economy Index and a shared listed companies panel data from 2012 to 2023, we built a two-way fixed effects model. Third, an intermediary effects model. We examined we examined the transmission path of information transparency, systematically explaining how the digital economy changes banks' risk assessment systems by improving information transparency, thereby reducing financing costs. The paper's potential contribution include first empirical demonstration of the mediating mechanisms where the digital economy lowers financing costs through enhanced information transparency, transcending traditional credit constraint theory, identification of reinforcing effect in technology-intensive industries, providing evidence for differentiated industrial policies, construction of a nested provincial firm dataset, resolving the microdata disconnect, advancing micro-level research in the intersection of digital economy and corporate finance. Theoretical analysis and research hypotheses. Digital economy and SMA financing costs. Traditional credit constraint theory, particularly the classic framework represented by Stiglitz and Weiss, emphasize that in credit markets characterized by high information asymmetry, financial institutions often rely on collateral as a crucial risk mitigation tool and signaling mechanisms to address adverse selection and moral hazard issues among borrowers. While these mechanisms ensure stability within traditional financial systems, it also excludes numerous small and medium-sized enterprises with promising business prospects but insufficient collateral from formal financial service. Building upon this paper introduces the vintage theoretical framework proposed by Macaulay, highlighting how algorithmic credit models driven by digital technology are progressively replacing and suppressing traditional collateral dependent mechanisms. Especially the digital economy leverage big data collection and analysis, AI-based credit assessments, and machine learning-driven dynamic risk control to construct a new credit evaluation system grounded in multidimensional real-time information. This system not only significantly enhances the accuracy of identifying enterprise repayment capacity and willingness, but also reduce post-loan default risk through continuous monitoring and predictive analytics, thereby diminishing financial institutions' reliance on traditional physical collateral. Digital technology has thus disrupted the collateral-centric credit allocation mechanism, driving a fundamental shift in credit decision-making from asset collateral to credit worthiness. Building upon this theoretical framework and integrating information asymmetry theory with transaction cost economics, we can further elucidate the impact mechanisms of the digital economy on SMA financing costs. Under traditional financing models, a significant information gap exists between financial institutions and SMAs. Incomplete, opaque, and unevenly distributed information constitutes the core cause of SMAs financing constraints and high costs. To overcome these, financial institutions must bear substantial cost for information collection, verification, and monitoring. These costs ultimately translate into higher interest rates, stricter collateral requirements, or more complex approval procedures, thereby elevating SMA's external financing expenses. The rise of the digital economy offers a novel pathway to address this challenge, leveraging foundational technologies such as big data, cloud computing, artificial intelligence, and blockchain. It enabled the low cost, large scale collection, integration, and analysis of vast amounts of structured and unstructured data from enterprises and their affiliates. This process generates a multidimensional, dynamic, and comprehensive enterprise credit profiles. This innovation in information production significantly expands the boundaries of traditional financial information and changing data granularity, timeliness, and reliability. It enables financial institutions to leverage machine learning algorithms for more accurate assessments of companies' actual operational status and credit risk, effectively mitigating adverse selection and moral hazard issues stemming from information asymmetry. By enhancing information transparency, the digital economy substantially reduces financial institution information processing costs and risk premium requirements throughout the entire credit process. From a transaction cost economics perspective, the digital economy profoundly reshapes the contractual environment of financial transactions. New business models such as digital platforms, supply chain finance, and online lending have substantially reduced costs associated with search and matching, negotiation, and contract enforcement supervision for both capital suppliers, and borrowers. Automated and intelligent credit review processes have replaced traditional labor intensive approval models, significantly enhancing financing efficiency and shortening the credit approval cycles. This has lowered the time and friction cost of financing for SMEs. Furthermore, leveraging technologies like mobile payments, remote account opening, and online risk control, the digital economy has overcome geographical limitation and physical branch constraints. This enables financial service to reach the long tail market more extensively and conveniently, enhancing SMEs access to hand choice of financing options. By intensifying market competition and further suppresses financing costs. Therefore, grounded in information asymmetry theory and transaction cost theory, the digital economy systematically reduces financial institution information costs, risk assessment costs, and transaction execution costs through information empowerment and process restructuring. This in turn significantly lowers SMA's overall financing cost by changing market competition and service accessibility. Based on this paper proposes the following research hypothesis. Hypothesis 1. The digital economy can significantly reduce the SMA financing cost, the mediating effect of corporate information transparency. Based on the theory of information asymmetry, while digital technology can simultaneously enhance transaction efficiency and information transparency, this paper argues that the latter plays a more pivotal intermediary role in reducing financing costs for small and medium-sized enterprises. The fundamental reason lies in the fact that information transparency directly resolves the two core dilemmas in credit markets: adverse selection and moral hazard caused by information asymmetry. In contrast, improvements in transaction efficiency primarily optimize operational process without addressing the foundational trust required for risk pricing. Within traditional financial systems, the information gap between banks and enterprises is the root cause of high risk premiums. Digital technology, driven platform economies, big data analytics, and blockchains not only checks transaction processing efficiency, but more critically, establish a multidimensional, verifiably real-time information network. This qualitative transformation of the information ecosystem, rather than mere process optimization, has restructured by a credit signal transmission mechanisms. Transactions logs from e-commerce platforms and tax records from cloud accounting system form a cross-verification system, significantly reducing enterprises' motivation and capacity of embracing information. This directly alleviates the pre-lending adverse selection problem at its source. From the perspective of financial intermediation theory, heightened information transparency directly drives the reconstruction of financial institution risk pricing models. When real-time operational profiles of enterprises become feasible, banks and transcend the limitation of static financial statements, and establish forward-looking risk assessment frameworks through dynamic monitoring. Bueno, eh, básicamente el objetivo principal del artículo es analizar cómo la economía digital ha transformado los costos de financiamiento de las pequeñas y medianas empresas en China. El estudio pues utilizó datos de 30 provincias, más de 16.000 observaciones de empresas entre los años 2012 y 2023, ¿sí? 11 años prácticamente. Los autores construyen un modelo de datos como en un panel para medir la relación entre el desarrollo digital y los costos financieros de las pymes, de las pequeñas y medianas empresas. Los resultados fueron claros en este estudio. A mayor desarrollo de la economía digital, menores fueron los costos de financiamiento para las pequeñas y medianas empresas. La razón principal es la reducción de la simetría de información. O sea, antes los bancos se enfrentaban a grandes dificultades para evaluar la capacidad de pago de las pequeñas y medianas empresas por falta de información confiable. Ya ahora, gracias al uso de Big Data, inteligencia artificial y los blockchains, se generan pues perfiles de crédito más completos y en tiempo real para las entidades bancarias, lo que le genera mayor confianza en las pymes. Entonces, pues es más fuerte en las industrias intensivas en tecnología, como China, por ejemplo, pues que es un pionero, donde la digitalización mejora procesos, transparencia y capacidad de innovación. Ya en sectores más tradicionales el impacto existe, pero es menos significativo. En conclusión, la economía digital pues no solamente moderniza las operaciones financieras de las pymes, sino que transforma las formas de financiamiento para poder ser más confiables ante los bancos. Y pues también para la transparencia y el acceso a la información de calidad. Ya digamos como aprendizaje para nuestra carrera que es ingeniería financiera, pues digamos como las lecciones que nos deja esto es que los datos y la transparencia son pilares para una buena financiación de una pyme. Que pues como ingenieros financieros debemos dominar las herramientas digitales, que eso pues no es un secreto ahora en día, y, y eso sirve mucho para poder evaluar riesgos y costos de una empresa pequeña o mediana. Y que es fundamental también diseñar estrategias que hagan más accesible el financiamiento para las pymes precisamente, que es un sector vital en cualquier economía, como se puede ver aquí pues en un gigante como lo es China. Listo, muchas gracias.